Hello everyone! This video is part of a series where we are developing a microservices-based social media application. We are using NodeJS for our backend services and React for our front-end application. And our main goal here is to learn the microservices patterns. Here is a brief overview of the tasks we are currently working on, as well as the plan for the near future. Of course, there is much more to our website than this, but this is just to give you a brief overview and a better idea of what we will be working on next. In this second diagram, I provide a better breakdown or more detailed tasks, so you can pause the video and inspect it on your own if you wish to do so. We also have a Jira board where we track the progress of our tasks, which means of our user stories and their subtasks. So now we have moved in the previous video the user story I want to verify my signup information to the in progress column. We have also moved the first subtask and we will start working on it in this video. So remember, we are in a test-driven environment, right? So we are trying to follow test-driven development as much as we can. So within the routes folder, I will create a new test file, and this test file is going to be verify, or is going to be called verify.test.ts. Within this file, I want to import request from supertest, and I also want to import my app from /app. I then want to describe my group of tests and say that they will test the email verification route. Now, what could be a good test here, or at least a good first test? We have a couple of tests in mind, right? So if the user provides a valid email verification token, we want to check that the respective or the corresponding user entity in the database was updated. We want to test that the respective user entity was found. Well, so there are a couple of things that we could test, but to begin with, let's think about the scenario when we have an invalid token. When we have an invalid token, it should return a 422, right? So we'll say should return in 422 if the provided email token, email verification token, is invalid. Like so. And here I think I need to change this because it's going to complain about unnamed function, so I'll just change to an arrow function. This is going to be an async function, and here what we want to do is we want to make a request to our email verification route and then expect a 422 because we will provide an invalid token. Now a very brief description or a very brief discussion here relates to how much information we want to open to the user, right? So if for our purposes here, we will consider any email verification token that is not found in the database to be invalid. Okay, so if the token is not of the right length, it will be invalid. If the token is not registered in the database, it will be invalid. If the token has a different encoding, it will be invalid. But we don't want to expose all these little implementation details to the user. The only thing we want to say is, look, token invalid or something like this. An invalid token was provided. It doesn't matter, or we don't want to expose why that token is invalid, right? So here, let's begin with an await request to my application. We will post to the verify route. We will send a body of email verification token with something, and we will expect a 422 like so. Now, as you may have noticed, we don't have a verify route, so these tests are going to fail. Let me run the test watch here, and let's wait until the tests are failing. Oops, sorry, wrong directory. There you go. So now we have a failing test. Let's then come to the routes directory and we will create a new file called verify.ts, and this is going to be our verify route. I'll copy a little bit of setup from the signup route, at least the express router and everything. So here I'll simply copy this start and I will delete the imports that we don't need. So the express import we need, the signup route is going to be the verify route, and the verify route is going to be API auth verify. We don't need to generate the email verification. We don't need an email sender. We don't need these two events. We also don't need, or we may need these models, but at the moment I'll just remove them. And we will create not a signup route, but a verify route. Verify router, and then we will say verify router.post into the verify route. And you see here that the structure is really very similar to what we had for the signup router. Right, so we will skip the validation for the moment. Later on, we want to add some sanitization, of course, because we don't want to allow the user to send malicious or badly intended information in our request body, but that will be implemented in a future video. We then have our next function, which is going to be the function that receives a request and a response, and then it will send something back. Remember, here we don't need to type request and response as respectively request and response, because this is the second argument that is being passed to the post method. If we were to add a couple of middlewares here, let's say something like so, then we would need to type this as request and as response. Maybe we could do it like so, because, well, we plan to we intend to add a couple of validations and sanitization here. Then maybe we leave it like this, an empty array for the moment. What I want to do here is simply to say send a 422, okay? Because let's go back to the test and we say, okay, we want to we expect a 422 if the token is invalid, right? Or for any oops, there is a typo here. For any request at the moment, we would expect a 422 because we are not creating any user before this request. So let's simply look at the signup setup, and it's quite straightforward. We simply say res.status.send, right? So now for us here, we don't have any logic as we do within the signup route. I will just say res.send status of 422. Like so. And I'll save my application, and this should almost be enough for the test to pass. Right? We have implemented the verify router, but we didn't inform Express that this verify router should be used. Right? So let's come to the index.ts file, and I will export the default as verify router from /verify.ts, and there is no default export in verify.ts, so I will simply say export default verify router. Okay, now it should stop complaining. Exactly. We don't have any additional, or we do have the route here, so let's maybe also export this as our as our named export. Export every named export from verify in case we want to use our router or our route somewhere else. I think that then we could use either verify or index. This is also fine, or just ... like so. It would also work. Okay. Oops, sorry for that. Here I think that the verify import is clean enough. We may do a little bit of refactoring and put all the route declarations within the same file in our routes directory, but I can already tell you in the future we will use this open API pattern, or this open API structure, to declare the shape of our REST APIs. So we are going to use declaration files which are going to allow us to have a centralized definition for our API endpoints. So I'm not worrying too much about where I'm putting the route declarations. If we want to, maybe we could even do so. Let's create a new file here, route defs, like so. And I'll simply say, okay, export the const verify route from here, export the const signup route from here. I will also do this here. Export the const signup route, right? And then from within index.ts, I will say export everything from route defs. So that would be here. Export everything from route defs, like so. Now, if I come to the route defs file, I have a clear idea of the endpoints that I am making available to my user, right? So that's, I think it's a cleaner way. And within the signup, we just need to make a few adjustments. Here we need to import the signup route from route defs. Within the verify, we also need to import the verify route from route defs. And we can also do a small update in our imports for the tests, right? So this would be signup route from ... route defs. And for the verify test, this would be verify route from route defs, like so. Now within my app.ts file, I want to use the verify router so that I can allow post requests, or I can allow any requests to be handled by that router. So here I'll say app.use verify router, like so. And this now should allow us to make a request to the post, or to make a post request to the verify router, or to the verify route endpoint. Let's see if our tests are going to start to pass. Exactly. Now our tests are passing because we are able to reach that endpoint, and within the endpoint we are simply returning a 422. Right, so we are not even looking at the email verification token. We know by our definition that this email verification token is invalid, but we are not looking at it at the moment. In this video, we have implemented a basic setup so that we can now expand on the functionality and start treating valid tokens correctly. Great. So that's it for this video. And if you want to receive notifications every time I upload a new video to YouTube, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. I try to upload videos quite often, so there is always fresh, interesting content for you. Well, I hope interesting. And you will get small reminders every time the content is made available online. Also, if there is any topic related to development and to programming that interests you, make sure to write a comment and a small description of the topic. And if you see a topic that you also think it's interesting in the comments, then give it a thumbs up, because I consider these two things when planning future series for the channel. Okay? Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.